Hello, my name is Allison and I am one of the founders of Beatrice Forms, and I am so excited to introduce our latest product, which is the Beatrice Form Plus. If you've been following along, the product that we've been shipping this whole time has been this one over here, the one over here without the bifurcation, and that is the Beatrice Form Classic now. After shipping that version of our forms for, gosh, over 5 years now, we decided, hey, it's time to make a form with legs, because you guys ask for it constantly. So we figured, hey, we can make one of these, so we're gonna do it. This is it. This is the Beatrice Form Plus. As you can see, it is bifurcated and has an exposed crotch. So you can make leotards, you can make pants. We're gonna talk about that in a moment because there are limitations. For all intents and purposes, you now have access to the upper leg. And the reason we didn't make it a full leg for this product is because we wanted to make it affordable. Honestly, you know, when you do the full legs, it's it's a lot more complicated. You have to make a mechanism so that you can take at least one of them off so that you can dress it. And then you have to have a hanging stand, which is very expensive, okay? And then you can't dress the mannequin from the top, which can be a pain depending on what you're making. That's why we decided to go this direction, all right? So now when you go to buy a Beatrice Form, you have a decision to make. So for your base model, you can either go with the Beatrice Forms Classic over there, or you can go with the Plus that has the leg separation through the thigh. Now, I am showing it right now with the optional arm add-on, and we're gonna talk about that later, but the base model does not come with the arms. You have to add that on, and there is an additional cost. But that also gives you some flexibility to customize your Beatrice and just get the things that you need, okay? One of the things that's interesting is the way we do the separation. So not everybody, in fact, most people's thighs do touch, right? And you're kind of like, well, how do you make this custom form if my legs touch? How am I supposed to work and dress this form if the legs don't have enough separation? And what we do is we edit them. So we go ahead and we take out some material here, or not material, but reduce the girth by taking out a cutout if needed. And then we have your fullest thigh measurement, so we add that girth back in through the rest of the leg. That does require some editing and a little bit of artistic freedom on our part, but then you will have a form that you can actually use the leg and fit and drape and style and everything else you want to do. Another thing that's different is you'll notice that there is some twill tape here at the natural waist. And the reason we have that is because the only way that we can cover them is in two pieces. So there is a seam under here so that we can conceal the seam in the cover. Everything is anchored down with pins. They're flathead. And then whoever's doing the finishing will hand sew this twill tape top and bottom to the cover. It's all done by hand. You know, all of our finishing work here is done by hand, all of our model editing. It's actually a very manual process for what you would think is, you know, a lot of people think we like push a button and then the form comes out. That is not what happens. There are a lot of steps where we basically handcraft this item and, you know, make this product 100% custom and do this really nice finishing for you, okay? Let's talk about add-ons. If you don't have the arms, if you just get the base model, for the Beatrice Form Plus, it's gonna be like this. The only difference, now you need to pay attention here if you are interested in arms. You cannot add arms later to either one of these products. You have to opt into arms when you scan. And the reason why is because, one, your body position will be a certain way with the arms. And we need to have that in one scan so that we can make sure that we position it correctly, or it's in the model, in the scan model correctly, that the arms are there naturally. So we need to have them included so we can edit it properly. Second of all, we have to install these arm plates so that we can detach the arms. The only way to do that is to have the plates. And yeah, so that's like an extra cost that's included when you get the arms add-on, okay? The other reason we need to know if you're gonna have arms when you scan is because the way we model this connection here and where we end the shoulder into the arm is a little bit different for the case where there's an arm attachment. And I don't know if you care about the details, but it has to do with whether we're gonna cut at the pivot point or past the pivot point, because if you're not gonna have arms, we're gonna go past the pivot point. That's the junction between your shoulder and your arm. Normally we go past that by about 1 centimeter or 2, and that's to make sure that you have some extra information here in the upper torso for fitting sleeves and designing arm size and such. But if you're gonna have the arms attached, like, is this the right side? If you're gonna have the arms attached and you're gonna have this in your final form, then we actually like to cut it just at the pivot point because that gives a little bit more volume here at the upper arm for the attachment itself, which is more mechanically strong. And we figure, hey, if you need some of this extra information up here, you got it. You just put the arm on and you have the full body model. So you don't need that tiny sliver of the arm, that 1 to 2 centimeters of the top of the arm that we do include in the Beatrice Classic, okay? What else? The other option is this slide lock down here. So you can see that there's a little handle there, and what it does is you can lock down the slide that goes onto the stand pole into one position. So you can lock that down in case you have a heavy garment. If you're gonna be pushing down a lot, this slide lock is invaluable. You really need one of these. Now, if you are ordering a Beatrice Classic, you can also opt in for the slide lock. If you're doing, heavier garments, if you are in the historical costuming world, for instance, or if you're doing cosplay or any kind of costuming or heavy garment design, 100% recommend the slide lock, okay? The other thing is, you notice I have arms displayed here on this Beatrice Form Plus, but over here in this Classic, there are no arms. You can now add arms to the Beatrice Classic. So same rules apply. You have to opt in at the time of scanning. So you need to let us know because you're gonna scan a little differently, because normally we have you scan with arms at 45 degrees. When you're scanning with arms, we need you to put your arms in the configuration that you want for your final form. So that depends, right? Different people want different things. So I'll probably do a whole nother video about arm position, recommended arm positions if you're gonna scan for arms. But anyway, point is, that's now an option for the Classic as well, which is very exciting. I have arms on the form I use regularly and they are amazing. And then the last add-on is the Beatrice Form Mini. So you can see over here, we have our 50% scale. We're calling it Beatrice Forms Mini, which I think is so cute, yeah? And this product, we've had around for a long time, but I wanted to let you know that we can make you a Beatrice Forms Mini if you get the Plus, but it will not have arms if you had the arm option on your Beatrice Plus, and it will not have the bifurcation. So we're just gonna end it kind of, just below the widest point of your hips or below the bum, wherever is lower, we'll end it there, just like we do for the Classic. And then we can make you a Beatrice Forms Mini as well. And obviously these cost a few dollars more, but you know, a lot of people really enjoy the mini for mocking up designs. You know, you can drape on it and then enlarge your scanned pattern pieces by enlarge them to 200% and print them out, and then you have a full-sized pattern. Yes, you need to test it and do, you know, try it on your actual body and on maybe your full-size Beatrice, but it gets you very close, and it's really fun and very fast to design on these little half scales. Now, one thing we will continue to offer that we've been offering for many years is $50 off a Beatrice Form Mini if you buy it at the time of your full-size form, because then we can just stick it in the box with the full-size form and you don't pay extra for shipping. It's just the most economical way to get a Beatrice Forms Mini. However, if you don't choose to do that option at the time of purchase, you can always hit us up at a later time and we can make that for you later. It will just be full price. One thing that we can't do with the Beatrice Form Mini is we can't just make you one of those by itself. You have to have a scan for a full-size Beatrice in order for us to be able to offer that mini version at a reasonable price point, okay? Because we spend a lot of time doing the digital model editing, and so what we're doing is we're leveraging that you know, that labor that you've already paid for when you bought your full-size Beatrice to make the mini version. All right, and if you have any questions about this, it's all on the website. I'd like to turn to the most controversial topic, and that is, can I make pants on a Beatrice Form Plus? When you make a pair of pants that hold themselves up either through the hip or at the waistband with negative ease, because you need negative ease up there in the waistband or at the hip to hold the pants up if you want them to not fall down. Negative ease does not work very well for wovens on any dress form, whether it's a 3D scan-based dress form or a standard form. None of them squish like a human being squishes in that area. We are very squishy up here. I invite you to do a little test. Put on some pants and get them, either they're tight or you've got a belt on so they hold themselves up on their own. Look at what your body is doing underneath the waistband. I guarantee it's going to be biting into you a little bit, and you'll see the little muffin top. We all have it. It's going to be above, because you need to grab onto the body with a certain amount of force to hold up that whole pant. I mean, that's a lot of material hanging down here, and it needs to stay up here even when you sit down, when you reach over. So it's really got to hold tight. And when it does that, it bites into you, right? The thing about a dress form is that it can't do that. There is some give to our forms. They're not, you know, rock hard, but they don't squish like you do around your waist or through the hip. It's not the same. So that's what I want to let you know before you buy a Beatrice Forms Plus. That, yes, you can drape a pants block on here. I did that. I did that for the pants I'm wearing right now. It's amazing, but you should never, ever, ever expect to do final fit on this form. You can learn all about your crotch curve. You can learn about the depth and the length of the crotch. There's so much great information here, like what is the shape of the pattern? How does it change when you go from like a pair of slacks to a more tight-fitting slim pant? The other thing with fitting pants is it takes a lot more than putting it on a form in the standing position. Obviously, you need to design for sitting down, reaching over, all of these things. And so you need a lot more ease. You need to design for that. Please let me know if you have any questions before you order. Send me email. We have a contact form on our website with any questions you have about this, okay? I wanna get all of that answered before you invest in this tool. It's amazing. You know, I love mine. I have gotten the best pants block I've I've ever had using this method by draping on a 3D scan form of me, but you know, there are limitations, okay? The other question that's big on your mind, I'm sure, is the cost. Now, at the time of filming this video, I do not have a final cost, but I'm going to put that number below, above, to the sides, wherever it fits, and let you know what the base cost is for the Beatrice Forms Plus. I'm also going to show you what it costs to add arms, so what it will cost to make this version of the Plus. And yeah, those are pretty much the only options. Oh, and for the rest of the pricing, for the Classic, and if you want to get the $50 off on the Beatrice Mini, just check the website. Okay, we'll have all of our pricing information there. I think I covered everything. If you have any other questions, please feel free to reach out and I'm happy to answer them. Thanks everybody, see you next time.